Alright, here is the freight cart kit that I'm going to work on today. This is actually my second attempt at putting it together, and also my second time starting filming this tonight because the camera wasn't focusing well, so I have it on macro or close-up mode right now, so hopefully that'll turn out well. My friend John painted this for me, and John is under 10 years old, but he wanted to know how these cars look like in real life, and he saw, oh yeah, if you hear a door slamming in the background, that's just wind in my open windows blowing doors open and closed. Don't worry about that. Anyway, John wanted to know how cylindrical hoppers like this were painted in real life. I pulled up some pictures and he really liked the light yellow ones, I guess, and decided to go with that. So I didn't know which way any of my young friends were going to go when they started painting this. John decided to go with a realistic route, and I really appreciate that. So I just realized after I finished filming this that I never explained in this video much about this freight car itself. So this is a freight car kit that I got from eBay. Oops. There is the information on the end. Nothing else printed on the box. It comes from a company called Eve Model. I did not end up using the instructions this time around, although I did look at them yesterday. So I will briefly go through that now so that you can see it. It labels the different pieces. It gives you instructions for what order to put it together in at least 3 different languages. I want to say that that's English, German, and Japanese. Although with the non-Latin script, I'm not so 100% sure about that. And yep, there's all the directions. And we would have pretty much done everything right, but maybe not in the right order. I see that the last one is put the brake wheel on. That was like the first thing that I actually did. Anyway, it's from the brand called Eve Model. I'm pretty sure that they use Bachmann's molds, because I have freight cars from Bachmann that are basically identical to this one. But they sold this for a pretty high price, actually, almost $17. But hey, I don't really care about it. It's not too ridiculous of a price now in 2025 or 2024 when I bought it, and for this one, it was more about having something blank that wasn't too expensive that my friends could, my young friends in particular, could mess around with. And yeah, so I'm going to edit this to the start of the video, and now you'll get to see me putting it together. Let's get started. And to get started, I'm going to tell you what I've done already. What I've done so far is I've glued these detail parts to the bottom of this main body chassis piece. I did that using a little bit of super glue, this type of gel control super glue. Now, personally, most of the time, I prefer to use white glue like this when I'm gluing on detail parts, because it is usually strong enough to get the job done, even if it's weaker than other types of glue. It's very easy to clean it up, and it dries clear, as you can see from the quite a bit actually that's dried on the tip of this bottle. So if you have a little bit of extra that spills over, it's not that big a deal. But honestly, these detail parts being on the bottom, I wanted them to be set on fairly quickly, and I'm not too worried about anything else. Oh yeah, one of the other things I like about the white glue is it is a little bit flexible. So some of the more stronger glues are also more brittle, so they will break easier. Anyway, you could see that I've glued, in addition to those detail pieces, I've glued this weight piece in place. There is some glue underneath it. That was a mixture of white glue in some places and that gel control super glue in other places, but you see that I also added a little bit more white glue on top. I know I said that it dries clear, but because it's on a piece of shiny metal, you could see the white kind of nature of it. The other thing that I did was I glued these two little detail pieces in, and I did use the white glue for that. Now, the other thing that I tried to do the first time I tried to put this together was take these trucks. That's what these pieces are called, the trucks, and each truck here has 2 wheel sets in it. Now, these ones originally came with plastic wheels, and I much prefer to have metal wheels, which is why I've got a whole big bin full of them. Unfortunately, they don't, well, this one rolls pretty well. I did quite a bit of work to make that one work right, but this one doesn't. And I put in quite a bit of work to try to make that one roll really well too. And unfortunately, I also broke one of them. Actually, that's the one that I broke. You might be able to see it. Yeah, you can see right there, closest to the camera. It snapped while I was working on it. So instead of dealing with that anymore, I have decided to buy a new set of trucks that already have metal wheels on them. And I'm just going to use those. These should be the same ones that I had. It looks like these ones come with extra screws, which is nice, but I shouldn't need them. Oh yeah, those spin freely, and they also have a little bit of movement up and down like this, which is good to see. So I'm going to need 2 of these, and the extras I'm just going to put away. However, that is not really what I'm going to be doing next. What I'm going to be doing next is assembling the main body, which is a little bit scary, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, there is also a brake wheel here. On a real freight car, somebody could come up and turn this wheel to turn the brakes on, or turn it the other way to turn them off. You do that when it's not hooked up to an engine and you want it to not roll off. So you see that we've got 3 little tabs on each side, and those fit into 3 little slots on the bottom. One of the things that I've also noticed is that this bottom piece is kind of curved down, which we're going to have to work against. And I'm worried that the weight might pop out when we do that. And if it does, we will deal with that then. Not used to talking this much. Anyway, we want the brake wheel to be on the same side as these detail parts because those are brake related parts. So that's what we got. So I'm just going to slide it over the top to start with. And now you could really see that things don't line up perfectly here. But I guess what I'm going to try to do is start attaching it from this side. And there should be some snaps, maybe? Well, it looks like the center tabs are lined up. There's one more. There's one more. That side's good. Oh, maybe we'll get it. One more. All right, that's it. That's the hard part. All right, this is assembled. It's pretty weighty, which is a good thing. The weight helps it to stop it from wobbling and falling off the track. So the next thing that we're going to do is wait for a second while I take a drink of tea out of my Rapido mug. Okay, now this kit came with plastic couplers as well. You can see all of the original parts that I haven't used yet in here, and the extra metal wheels that are installed. Yeah, it came with these plastic couplers, and I like having a stock of plastic couplers for kits that are made of, or kits or engines or other cars that are made of metal because, well, that way you don't have electricity flowing through them. But anywhere else where there's a plastic coupler box or a plastic whole model, I prefer to use metal couplers. And this should go a lot better than what I was describing with the metal wheels, because these are pretty much just a drop-in, and if they don't fit, I will not spend too much time. But that seems to be fitting just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little screw, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this in, then we're going to put this on top of it like that, and hopefully that lines up right. Doesn't matter which way we go. Looks like the hole lines up that way, so that's what we'll do. And then we put this screw in. This screw looks like a self-tapping screw, which means we can't use it over and over without wearing out the plastic that we're shooting it into, but this is the first time I'm putting it together, so that shouldn't be a problem. Right. So I can't just put the coupler in here and leave it because it'll want to fall out. So what I like to do is start assembling it. So I've got the screw like that. There, that's all lined up. You won't be able to see what I did very well, but I'll try to tilt it so that you can see this. And then I'm going to put this screwdriver in like that. And I'm just going to gently tighten it. All right, and then we want the coupler to pivot freely back and forth, but not really up and down very much, and that's exactly what we got. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. So we need the cover, we need a screw. I believe that all of the screws in here are the same as each other, because we will also need 2 screws to hold on the trucks. Yeah, just like the metal wheels, I have a big stash of these metal couplers. In fact, I'm going to put them with the metal wheels. All right. So there's the screw. There's the coupler box. Yeah. How do I get it? Small fiddly stuff. And of course, my hands must look absolutely huge in this shot. They're not super big, but this stuff is just really small. All right, that is holding in place there. So now we just put the coupler there, hold that in with one hand, put this on top of it, get it lined up right, and we could free that hand to get the screwdriver. There. Yeah, that's great. That looks exactly like I want it to be. Good. All right. Now let's put these trucks on. These ones, if you look at them from the side, they should be identical. They just have metal wheels instead. Well, these ones obviously have metal wheels, but they're metal wheels that don't fit. So I'm going to put those back in my stash right now. In fact, I have a tool for this, a tool specifically for pulling wheels out of things like this. It didn't work as well as I hoped it would. I think I actually use it for putting them in a bit more often. Oh, there we go. All right. We need the last 2 screws. They should be in here. Here's one. I see the other one. All right. Now, to do this properly, you install them, the way that you do, and then you put them on the track and you check to see if the coupler height is the is right. And then if it's not, you put in little fabric or any type of washers in here to like make these go down a bit. If it's already too far down, there's not a whole lot you could do. I suppose you could get out a file and grind this down a little bit, but usually they're designed so that this part of it sits a little bit too low, specifically so that you could raise it up, because that's just easier to do than grinding stuff down. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to put these on. And I'm going to talk about the other thing that you want to look out for when putting these on. Now, there. I usually rotate this the wrong way a little bit, but yeah, that only works if the hole is pre-threaded, which these ones are not. These are self-tapping screws, which means that they are cutting the plastic when they go down. All right, this one pivots freely this way. It doesn't really pivot that way. In fact, I'm going to give it just maybe a quarter turn more. Yeah, that was a little too much. Yeah, it pivots freely this way, but it doesn't rotate at all in any other direction, which is exactly what I want for that one. Drop the screw. Almost done here. There. I pretty much just like put the screw straight in there and pushed it in with my thumb. And it'll more or less center on its own, and then I'm kind of holding it in place with the screwdriver. There, it feels like it's lined up with a hole. So I twist it down. All right, that one's a little bit stiff, so I need to unscrew it a little bit. Now what you want is you want one of them that rotates like this, but only like this. One of them that rotates like this and also a little bit in other directions. So you can see I can make this one wiggle like this a little bit. That is what I am told is what's best for when these things are going around corners. So that's it. This whole thing's put together. I'm just going to take another look around it. This side looks okay. I felt this is a little bit loose, and I'm going to try to, yeah, you see how this is wiggling? I don't think there's a good way to fix that. So I'm going to do a bad way to fix it. Just a little bit of glue. And yeah, one of the things that I like about this white glue is if I do have to break it later, it's probably the glue that's going to break and not anything else. So I'm just getting a little bit on those tabs, and then I'm going to line them back up with where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to leave it. All right, so that's it. I'm not going to be taking it down to the railroad to run today. I'm going to wait until I get at least, oops, sorry for bumping you. I'm going to wait until I get at least one more car done, because I do have one from my friend Lily as well. I have another friend who's working on another one, and I have some young relatives who may be making some of their own later, but they haven't gotten started yet. They just haven't had a chance. But anyway, John, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I hope that you are glad that you got a chance to see me put this together, and hopefully you'll get a chance to see it running on the railroad too. Maybe I will bring this back to your house and we could run it on some railways there. Thanks. Bye.